Hello, back again to do another unboxing and review. Today, as you may have guessed, I will be reviewing this USB wall charger. However, this video today is going to be a little different than my normal in that this charger, although it has some pretty cool features like this 3.4 amp, what they're calling ultra charge, and so it has some cool features, but let's be honest, it's not as out there as an item that I normally prefer to review. So why am I reviewing this one? Well, as you may recall or heard about, some of the big smartphone companies, you could fill in the blank, are no longer including chargers in the box with your new $1,000 plus phone. So there are going to probably be quite a few people that need to actually go out and buy a charger. So because of that, I try to go for something that's a little more mainstream. So you can see the brand here, GE. I'm sure you've heard of them before. And as you can tell, the styling is a little more, I don't know, I guess what's trendy now. Not necessarily my personal taste, but whatever. I'm trying to find something that, like I said, most people will be happy to use. Alright, so here we are. You can tell again, as I said, it's made by GE. This is definitely the Pro Series, I guess. USB wall charger. We have 3 ports. It's great for travel. In case you didn't know, the plug, of course, flips into it, so it's easier to put in your pocket, bag, whatever. And then you can see here they're talking about this 3.4 amp, 17 watt, what they're calling ultra charge, which apparently is 40% faster charging. It looks like we have some kind of connected equipment warranty, I guess similar to like when you buy a surge protector. I haven't read this, but I'm assuming like if your device gets damaged by a power surge, you can maybe apply for that. Hopefully that doesn't happen though. Okay, and then you can see a representation. Again, of course, this cord is not included, just like the phone's not included, just the brick or cube in this case. Okay, so there's that warranty again. Flipping around to the back, let me zoom in. Alright, I'll see here on the back, we can see what they mean by that 40% faster. I'll let you read that if you want. And then they're talking about how you can plug in 3 devices. Got the logo there, and on the bottom there are the 3 ports. Okay, let's look at the rest of these icons. I'll refocus here. Alright. Alright, so overall impressions of the packaging. It works. It's not my favorite, but so let's talk about what it does well first. I like the colors. We have obviously the picture of the item, which obviously is white, and they contrast it against this black background, but so that's great. Now what I don't like about this package is the packaging type. So you can see here from a side view that you basically have a paper card and then a little blister of plastic with your item inside. Major downfalls with this type of packaging, it falls down. If this had been put in a box with a hanger, you could either set it on a shelf or hang it up. So this is all done for one reason. We all know it, and that's cost savings on packaging. But so although it does work, it's not my favorite. So let's move on to the unboxing. Alright, so I got ahead and I cut around here with a knife to open it like so. Okay, see if there's anything else in there. Just to show you there was no extra warranty information or anything on the inside. Nope. Alright, so have the logo, nothing on the front face, nothing on that side, nothing on that side, nothing on that side, and of course the bottom where the ports are, back, so there you are. Okay, and then, alright, yeah, definitely. Yep. Good positive feedback when it's locked in place and when it retracts. To give you an idea of the size, there it is compared to a regular size die. Alright, so I went ahead and weighed it. It weighs 2.2 ounces or 63 grams. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and test it out. I have an extension cord here. It's running towards your typical residential outlet in the United States. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and flip out these prongs. You'll notice, by the way, the prongs are both the same width. On some devices, you may know that one's wider than the other. That isn't the case here, so perhaps you can put it in this way or this way. Anyway, we'll test it out, but for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and plug it in. Okay, so there's no LED indicator or anything to let us know that it has power. Although I know it does because I tested the outlet earlier. Okay, so in order to see what's going on here, I'm going to use this device here. This is an inline diagnostic tool. And then on this little screen here, it's going to tell us the current and all that good stuff, volts and all that. So go ahead and I'll plug that in. So let's see here. I'm trying to figure out what way the best to see this, because the screen, yeah, I'll plug it in this way. So go with the top one. Okay. So there we are. Now keep in mind there's really no load on this at the moment, except for what little power it needs to run that screen you're looking at. Okay, so now the next step obviously would be to put some load on there. Alright, there you go. Alright, so same deal as last time, but this time it's a different phone. This is the LG V60 ThinkQ 5G. And so yeah, I'm going to be using the same cable as I came with the LG V20. The only reason why is because this was USB-C to USB regular here. The one that came with this phone, the V60, is a Type-C to Type-C. So that would have had one extra adapter, and I don't want to include that in the equation here, or so. Okay, so as the phone isn't connected at this point, here's the plug for that going to the phone, so we're going to connect that up. Okay, and looking at the phone, see if anything. Yep, so it's charging. Yeah, so you can see there. Charging. Nope. Okay, so actually learned something by doing that. So when I use this with an inline diagnostic tool, it takes about 33. It takes about 20 extra minutes of expected time to fully charge the phone. So as here it says 54 minutes to charge using that. If I take this off, then plug this in here directly, you'll see it reanalyze, and it comes with, you can see it there, 31 minutes. So, okay, well, so yeah, we knew it. This takes some of the juice to power this, right? But even with going directly connected, it did not trigger the fast charge in this device here, the V60, and the same scenario happened when I did what you just saw me do there with the V20. It also didn't initiate its fast charge, and yes, the V20 did have fast charge. One thing I wanted to add to that, though, is with both the V20 and the V60, the fast charge feature may come from the fact that there's a special power brick that you need to use. Of course, that came included with the phone. Remember those days? Anyway, so it very well might be that that charger that comes with the phone is necessary to initiate the fast charge protocol. Alright, so you can see I kind of got a little mess going on here, but what I want to do is test something out. So what I have at this moment is the V60 connected, and it's going in through our diagnostic tool. Then right in front of that, you can see there's another plug, the blue cable there, and that blue cable isn't connected at this moment, but I'm gonna connect it to the LG V20. So I'm gonna see that if the reading we get changes once there's additional load put on, which is of course the second phone going to be charging. Alright, so here we go. So before I connect the second phone, which is the V20, we have, alright, 1.02 amps and 2494 milliamps per hour at 4.9 volts. Okay, so here we go. Okay, the second phone is now charging, and we have, alright, 5 volts, and it's kind of jumping around, but it topped out at 1.12 amps and 2502 milliamps per hour. Alright. Alright, so I went ahead and ran more tests, and to have something to compare the item I'm reviewing against, I introduced a few other options. So this one here is from the Sharper Image here. You can see it's a vertical stand, so you can put your tablets or smartphones up here, and you have 3 ports down here. There's a 1 amp port and a 2.1 amp and a 2.1 amp. Alright, so I'm going to use these ports here. Also, I went ahead and got out my fast charger. This is what came with the LG V20, so it's OEM. And also, I tested the fast charger that comes with the V60, and kind of looks like this, and it's bigger, and it has a Type-C port on top. And I also connected my testing equipment to the tower, my computer. It's USB port. So with all that, let's go look at the results. Alright, so let's get to the data. I do have 3 pages. I'm going to try to get through it as fast as possible. However, keep in mind, even if you're not interested in this particular GE charger that this review is about, I still think it's pretty interesting to see just what's happening voltage-wise and current-wise when you plug in your device to one of the many different USB ports that are available nowadays. Alright, so anyways, let's get started. First, on this top row here, I have, you can see, it's the no load. So this is me just plugging the inline diagnostic tool, which you saw earlier in this video. I plug it into the different ports and just see how they are without any load on them. Kind of a baseline type deal to make sure everything's working and no funny business is going on. So we'll start with the GE charger. You can see we have 5.12 volts. Go over the Sharper Image. Remember, that has 2 different ports. 1 amp and 2.1 amps, and you can see the volts there, 5.19 and 5.19, so it's uniform across there. Then going over to the fast charger, the OEM one, you can see that the voltage is actually a little bit lower, so I was kind of surprised by that, but okay. So take home there is that basically all the ports are operating and there's nothing to be concerned about. So let's continue with the test. So now I'm going to add load. So now I'm actually attaching the phone to what you saw above, and now we're actually doing something, charging the phone. In this case, it's the LG V20. Alright, so moving on. So you can see with the GE charger, I went ahead and took numerous samples here, and then down here I have the averages. So we're putting out about 4.8 volts, and then amps is about almost 0.5, so almost half an amp. Now, I also here, you can see in gray, I just went ahead and connected it to my computer, just kind of see how it compares to like a tower or maybe a laptop or whatever. And you can see the volt I have down there, volts there, amps there. Alright, now let's move on to the other chargers. Here's the one from Sharper Image. Remember, again, it has those 2 ports. You can see the 1 amp is that, and the 2.1 amps is there. Now, if you notice those two, 4.9, 4.9, 0.89, 0.83. These are almost right on top of one another. So apparently the V20, at least when the V20 is connected, it treats these ports almost identical. Okay, moving over here to the fast charge, we expect something different to happen here, and well, we're not let down. Look at the voltage there, it's 6.23 as compared to like the almost 5 volts. So noticeably higher, and then the amps really stand out at 1.2 as compared to not even 1 amp. Alright, but again, we kind of expected the fast charger to do something different, and it did. But comparing these here, we can see that it looks like the GE charger is acting more like just another USB port on top of your tower, or on the side of the tower, or the back of the tower, wherever. But you can see those numbers there are a lot closer than these numbers are. So here we have 5 volts and 0.8 amps, and down here, well, the voltage is almost the same, but the amps are but half what it is out of either of the Sharper Image charger. Okay, so now let's move down to this. Here, I'm kind of measuring time. So what I did is I just connected it to my phone, and I actually watched for each percentage of battery it restored. So each percent of battery charge on the phone, I see how long it took to go up. So you can see from 71 to 72, that's 1%. It took 68 seconds to do that. And I took, 2 readings for each here. And the GE charger, you got a battery percentage every about minute and 7 seconds. And then on the Sharper Images, you can see there we have 66 and 62.5. So it looks like the 2.1 amp is charging a little bit quicker, about 4 seconds quicker. And then the slowest is obviously the GE charger. Not by a lot compared to this 1 amp, but still. So it looks like, again, the GE charger is acting more like a 1 amp port, at least when connected to the LG V20. Okay, now on to page 2. Alright, so for the next 2 pages, we're going to be looking at data that was gotten using a third-party app that was running on my phone. This sheet's going to be the V20, the next sheet will be the V60. And so it's the numbers that came off of using the app and the phone. Well, that phone was being charged using the various chargers that we've been comparing all this time. So this data is going to be a little more dependent on what the phone sees as opposed to what's actually coming out of the port. So I'll just call it kind of like downstream data. Alright, so here we go. So starting again with the GE charger, you can see, and I'll just kind of scroll across and then we'll come back and look at it. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the charge rate. You can see normal, 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 and then when it gets to the actual fast charger, you can see it actually identifies that as turbo. That's what the app calls fast charging, turbo. Okay, and then let's go ahead and look at the voltages, 4.1, 4.1, and 4.2. But then when you get over the fast charger, it's still only 4.2. So I guess once the phone sees the voltage, I guess it gets tamed down from what it was when we were testing it at the port. Wasn't it like 6 point something volts? So yeah, okay, so I guess the phone that controls that down a little bit. Anyway, now let's go ahead and look at the amps. So we have a min and a max. So the G is at 480 to 780, kind of a tighter range. If you look here, the range is noticeably bigger. It goes from 290 to almost 1,000, or 1 amp. And then over here, we actually get to 1 amp when it's on the 2.1 amp port. And then over here with the fast charger, interesting enough, the current here isn't even as big as it is on the 2.1 amp port, but it's still high. But then also the range is quite big. It goes from 240 all the way to 920. And we're going to see a similar wide range when it comes to the fast charger when we do the V60s as well. But anyway, just looking at this one though, what do we take away from here? Yeah, this one here is supplying the lowest max current. So the GE charger with only 780, where everyone else is at least into the 900s. Yep. Okay, so now let's get to the V60 one. Alright, same deal, different phone. This is the V60. And then you'll notice that there's a double asterisk versus a single asterisk. That has to do with this. So for the last, or the quick charger for the V60, I had to use the cable that came with the V60 because that's a Type C to Type C. But all the other chargers, I used the V20 because that's USB normal to Type C. So anyway, alright. So now let's get to what we're waiting to see here. I'll just again scroll across and then we'll come back and look at it. Okay, so here we go again with the GE charger. First of all, you'll notice how charge rate, for whatever reason, the app can't figure it out when I use the V60. Don't know, so it's just a dash line. But we can figure it out. We don't need it to tell us that. Let's look at the voltage and current. Okay, so here we go, 4.2, and then over here, again 4.2. So you can see these two are actually very close together. Again, the GE seeming to match a 1 amp port. Then coming over here, we have the 2.1, so comparing those two across, again, I'm not seeing, there's a very, very slight raise in the voltage, but that might not even be significant because that's almost 4.3 over there. So it looks like these are basically, again, the phone is treating these as the same. Keep in mind this is the V60 now, not the LG V20. Then going over here to fast charger, we expect the fast charger to do something different. And although the voltage again isn't as high as when you measure it right at the port, you can see where it really shows its difference is down here in the current. We have the lowest min and the highest max. And remember I said earlier, the fast charge seems to be a hallmark that there's a wide range between amp min and amp max, and this is absolutely no exception there. So again, lowest min, highest max, just to make sure I didn't misspeak, 130 versus, yeah, all the other ones are in the thousands, and then when you go to the max, the other ones can't even break 1300, and this one's all the way up to 3000 something. So, okay, so again, fast charger do fast charger stuff, we kind of already know that, but going back to this, the more fair comparison would be between the GE and these two charge ports, and it looks like, what have we seen? Not much difference at all. So, okay. Alright, so after looking at all those numbers, I wanted to make sure I got a few disclaimers out of the way. First disclaimer is that you'll notice I tested smartphones, a V20 and a V60. Although the V60 does have a large battery for a smartphone, I understand it's still no monster-sized tablet. So I'm aware of that. If you do have a tablet and you're curious, I would just maybe use what I showed you and extrapolate how it will work for your device. Okay, the other thing is as far as usage. I've only used this basically to do the tests that I showed you the data for, so I can't say how this thing's going to hold up 2 years from now or whatnot. I can say that it does feel this. It seems to be rather robust, and it feels like it's sturdy. And when I shake it, I don't get any cheap rattly noises. So, but again, I don't know how it will last, but it seems pretty well built. Okay, so now with all that, all right. So moving along to the conclusion here. Does it work? Yeah, it does. Now, would I recommend it? Am I happy with it? Well, it's charging my phones, so I can't complain too much. But I'm kind of let down, and I don't really know if it's a fault of the item, or maybe the marketing, or maybe my expectation, or maybe all of them combined. And what I mean by that is, I can see here they're talking about this 3.4 amps, and I guess you could charge tablets and phones together and all that, and you have 17 watts. But what kind of got me hyped up, but then kind of got me disappointed, is this whole thing about ultra charge. Now, every brand seems to have their own name: quick charge, fast charge, rapid charge, or whatever. So when I see something called ultra charge, I think, ooh, we have like a new technology or something coming out. And at least for the test with the phones that you looked at the data for, I didn't really see it be anything more than just a 1 amp port. Now, is it the phones that are down-regulating it to that? Could this produce more than that? Maybe. But again, at least for my application, it's not really doing anything out of the ordinary. So I'm not really seeing anything ultra about it. So again, maybe if you're charging 3 tablets and it works and when others wouldn't, great. But at least for me, it's not really doing anything out of the ordinary, so it's just a charger.